the Vedic literature, which contains full knowledge confirmed by mature transcendental experience. Unfortunately, modern man is averse to receiving knowledge from the Vedas, Puranas, and other scriptures. From the Vishnu Purana, we receive the following information. Vishnu Shakti Para Prokta Kshetragyakya Tatha Para Avidya Karma Sangyaya Tritiya Shaktir Ishyate. Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, possesses different energies known as Para, superior, and Apara, inferior. The living entities belong to the superior energy. The material energy in which we are personally entangled is the inferior energy. The material creation is made possible by this energy, which covers the living entities with ignorance, avidya, and induces them to perform fruitive activities. Yet there is another part of Lord's superior energy that is different from both this material inferior energy and the living entities. That spiritual energy constitutes the eternal deathless abode of the God. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.20. Parastasmat tu bhavo anyo vyakto avyakto avyaktat sanatana. Yah sa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. All the material planets, upper, lower, and intermediate, including the sun, moon, and Venus, are scattered throughout the universe. These planets exist only in the lifetime of Brahma. Some lower planets, however, are vanquished after the end of one day of Brahma and are again created during the next day of Brahma. On the upper planets, time is calculated differently. One of our years is equal to only 24 hours, or one day and night, or on many of the upper planets. The four ages of Earth, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali, last only 12,000 years according to the time scale of the upper planets. Such a length of time multiplied by 1,000 constitutes one day of Brahma, and one night of Brahma is the same. Such days and nights accumulate into months and years, and Brahma lives for 100 such years. At the end of Brahma's life, the complete universal manifestation is vanquished. Those living beings who reside on higher planets like the sun and the moon, as well as those on Martyaloka, on this earth planet, and also those who live on lower planets, all are merged into the waters of devastation during the night of Brahma. During this time, no living beings or species remain manifest, although spiritually they continue to exist. This unmanifested stage is called Avyakta. Again, when the entire universe is vanquished at the end of Brahma's life, there is another Avyakta stage. But beyond these two unmanifested states is another unmanifested state, the spiritual atmosphere or nature. There are a great number of spiritual planets in this atmosphere, and these planets exist eternally, even when all the planets within this material universe are vanquished at the end of Brahma's life. There are many material universes, and each under the jurisdiction of a Brahma. And this cosmic manifestation within the jurisdiction of various Brahmas is but a display of the 1/4 of the energy of the Lord. Ekapata Vibhuti. This is the inferior energy. Beyond the jurisdiction of Brahma is the spiritual nature called Tripada Vibhuti, 3/4 of the Lord's energy. This is the superior energy or Para Prakriti. The predominating supreme person residing within the spiritual nature is Lord Sri Krishna, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. He can be approached only by the unalloyed devotee, devotional service, and not by the process of jnana, yoga, or karma, philosophy, mysticism, or fruitive work. The karmis or fruitive workers can elevate themselves to Swargalok planets, which include the sun and the moon. Jnanis and yogis can attain still higher planets such as Maharalok, Taplok, and Brahmalok. And when they become still more qualified through devotional service, they can enter into the spiritual nature, either the illuminating cosmic manifestation of the spiritual sky, Brahman, or the Vaikuntha planets, according to their qualification. It is certain, however, that no one can enter into the spiritual Vaikuntha planets without being trained in devotional service. On the material planets, everyone from Brahma down to the ant is trying to lord it over the material nature. And this is the material disease. As long as this material disease continues, the living entity has to undergo the process of bodily change. Whether he takes the form of a man, demigod, or animal, he ultimately has to endure an unmanifested condition during the two devastations. Devastation during the night of Brahma and the devastation at the end of Brahma's life. If we want to put an end to this process of repeated birth and death, as well as the concomitant factors of old age and disease, we must try to enter the spiritual planets, where we can live eternally in the association of Lord Krishna or his plenary expansions, his Narayan forms. Lord Krishna or his plenary expansions dominate every one of these innumerable planets, a fact confirmed in the Shruti mantras. Eko Vashi Sarvagah Krishna Idya. Eko Pisan Bahudhayo Vabhati. Gopal Tapani Upanishad 1.21. No one can dominate Krishna. It is the conditioned soul who tries to dominate the material nature and is instead subject to the laws of material nature and the sufferings of repeated birth and death. The Lord comes here to re-establish the principles of religion, and the basic principle is the development of an attitude of surrender to Him. This is the Lord's last instruction in the Bhagavad Gita, 18.66. Sarva dharmana parityajya mama ekam sharanam vraja. Give up all other processes and just surrender unto me alone. Unfortunately, the foolish men have misinterpreted this prime teaching and misled the masses of people in diverse ways. People have thus been urged to open hospitals, but not to educate themselves to enter into the spiritual kingdom by devotional service. They have been taught to take interest only in temporary relief work, which can never bring real happiness to the living entity. They start varieties of public and semi governmental institutions to tackle the devastating power of nature, but they don't know how to pacify insurmountable nature. Many men are advertised as great scholars of the Bhagavad Gita, but they overlook the Gita's message by which material nature can be pacified. Powerful nature can be pacified only by the awakening of God consciousness, as clearly pointed out in the Bhagavad Gita 7.14. In this mantra, Sri Isopanishad teaches that one must perfectly know both the Sambhuti, the personality of Godhead, and Vinasha, the temporary material manifestations side by side. By knowing the material manifestation alone, one cannot be saved. For in the course of nature, there is devastation at every moment. Ahanya ahani bhutani gacchantitha yamalayam. Nor can one be saved from these devastations by the opening of hospitals. One can be saved only by complete knowledge of the eternal life of bliss and awareness. The whole Vedic scheme is meant to educate men in this art of attaining eternal life. People are often misguided by temporary attractive things based on sense gratification, but service rendered to the sense objects is both misleading and degrading. We must therefore save ourselves from our fellow men in the right way. There is no question of liking or disliking the truth. It is there. If we want to be saved from repeated birth and death, we must take to the devotional service of the Lord. There can be no compromise, for this is a matter of necessity. Hare Krishna. So what this Ishwamanishad now this verse is telling us is that it is always the desire of living entity to live in eternal life. The living entity always wants to live eternally. But the problem is that the living entity is in an incompatible nature. The living entity is within the material domain. The living entity is Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. But it has now been caught in this temporary material manifestation. So therefore, it is bound by birth and death. Living entity cannot escape it. No amount of science or technology can allow anyone to escape death. Great demons, great demonic personalities like Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu also wanted to escape death, but even they couldn't manage. They were well qualified in all material sciences and they were very powerful, but still they could not manage to escape death. So death is not something which could be conquered in the sense that death is inherent to material nature. The living entity jatasya hi dhruva mrityu. The material manifestation is always transitory. It is always changing. It cannot stay in one place. And therefore, birth, old age, disease, and death are bound to come. Disease, what is disease? Some malfunctioning of some liver of organ or manifestation of some external entities in the body. These are all movements of material nature. So as long as there is movement of material nature, the living entity is bound to experience birth and death. If this, if if one wants deathlessness within this material world, one has to give up this material conditioning itself. And material conditioning comes because of one's desire to enjoy this world. ध्यायतो विषयान पुंसा संगस्तेषु पजायते संगात संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोभिजायते. So by an intense desire to enjoy this world, the living entity becomes bound by it. Living entity himself binds himself to this material nature, and therefore he takes many forms: man, woman, demigod, demon, plant, animal, so many forms. In each form, he's trying to enjoy this material nature. The living entity is always masculine because he's trying to enjoy Purusha. Even the so called females of this world are also Purusha because they are also trying to enjoy this world. The living entity is not meant to do that. He has to understand that he's Brahma, he's eternal, he's not this body, and he's not the enjoyer. Ekala Purusha Krishna are Sabhabhratya. All the living entities are female, feminine. They are meant to be enjoyed. They are not meant to enjoy themselves. But when they satisfy the Lord, they themselves become satisfied because they are part and parcel of the Lord. When the whole is satisfied, the part will also be not automatically satisfied. In this regard, Srila Prabhupada gives the example of organs of the body. When all the organs serve the body nicely, they become satisfied. The liver, the kidney, the intestines, hand, feet, they all are satisfied when food goes through the mouth into the belly. When it goes from mouth to belly to the stomach to the intestines, then the living entity is satisfied. If the hand or the feet they try to absorb the food themselves, it's not possible. It's not going to work out. So likewise, if the living entity tries to satisfy the supreme, he will also feel satisfaction. But if he tries to satisfy himself only, then it's only going to be temporary. A branch of tree which is separated from the tree will stay green for some time, but very soon it will wither and die. So just like that, the living entity who is separated from the Lord is also like a cut branch. He's within the material nature and he will also wither and die because that's the nature of Prakriti or the material manifestation. So one should avoid all kinds of material propaganda that we see in this world about life, about becoming happy in this world. One should understand that once one has taken birth only to understand the absolute truth, and one should pursue that absolute truth with all means. Of course, one is allowed to enjoy some senses. Yukta hara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu. One should be able to work, eat, maintain oneself, one's bodily condition. But one should understand that this bodily condition is temporary, it's not permanent, and this is only a medium by which one can realize the supreme absolute truth and become free from material manifestation, become free from material birth and death. This material nature, so the gist of this verse is this, that birth and death are inherent to matter. Matter is not permanent. Therefore, the living entity should not try to make any permanent arrangements here because the platform on which we exist itself is temporary and we have to get rid of it. That is the only path of liberation from this misery of birth and death. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments? Okay. If not, then we stop here. We continue on Monday. Okay, so
Hare
thank you
Krishna.
very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Nandotna Prabhu.
Krishna,
Hare
yes.
Krishna, Hare Krishna.
So, so we find that even after many years of practice of the principles of Bhakti Yoga, like how Prabhupada has suggested, like
Hmm.
regularly reading books and also at the same time chanting, but
Hmm.
somehow when we see that either two things happen, either the fear of death is not going, or sometimes we are so casual that death is approaching, like time is running up and our life is going away, but still we are not very serious in going deep rooted in our bhakti. So either of these things happen, even though after years of practice, and then we feel a little disheartened. Ki, are we uh, going to manage something substantially or not? How do you understand this?
We are misguided. We're not receiving proper guidance. We're not really understanding the implication of material life. We're not really understanding how dangerous this world is. Because we associate with worldly minded people. They may dress up like devotees, but actually they are just worldly minded people. You know, just wearing the uniform of a Vaishnava, but not understanding Vaishnava principles. In the times of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Gaudiya Math, or even in the times of Srila Prabhupada, devotees avoided material association. in the sense that, so see, if you want to become an engineer, you study with engineers. You live in that environment. You see how they live. That's why there are hostels for engineering students, so that they can live together and understand. Mathematicians, scientists, doctors, they all live together. So because in each other's association, they are able to practice their principles properly, and they discuss subject matter. Engineering students, when they sit together, they're not discussing movies or sports. They're discussing engineering subjects. That's how they're able to manage their studies. So devotees, when they come together, devotees should also stay with each other. They should sit with each other. They should discuss subject matter. If we live like gross materialists, we'll be convinced. See, materialists are convinced by Maya that this material world is a happy place. And when we associate with them, we also doubt our own scriptures. I mean, Krishna is saying this, Dukhalaya Mashashvatam, but I'm okay. I feel nice. My girlfriend is beautiful. My car is nice. My job is high paying. I am handsome. This misconception comes to us. We feel that we are happy, we are comfortable, we are safe in this place. We don't see that there is birth, old age, disease, and death around us all the time. Around all the time. Bhagavad Gita is not some theoretical concept. We can open our eyes and see it around us. The birds are singing in the sky, and then they're killing worms. Then cats and dogs, they're killing birds. In this way, the whole circle of life is being continued. It's a it's a terrible circle of birth and death all around us all the time. But we are not noticing it. Whereas we see old people on the streets, but we don't think that we will become old like that. So all these things are happening, but we are not paying attention because we are not maintaining right association. We are not having any kind of good association. We are not associating with Prabhupada's books. We are not reading this philosophy seriously enough. And that's why we are convinced that this material life is a happy place. We'll be happy here. So we have to be much more careful because it's a matter which concerns us, our life and death. It's a matter of our life and death. We need to be very careful. If we are sick, we don't go to a quack. We go to a proper certified qualified doctor who enjoys a good reputation. We ask 10 people, oh, I have this disease, which is the best doctor for this? What do others say about him? We do research. But when it comes to spiritual life, we just accept any Yahoo who's saying something nice. That is wrong. That's where our fault is. So if there is no one else, we should just read Prabhupada's books. If Prabhupada is saying something, he's a self-realized soul. If he's saying something, it means.
Yes, you truly point out one of the greatest weakness now that exists among devotees. Like as you said, when we are trying to learn a particular subject matter, whether it be engineering or medical, so we don't wait for some formal channel. We have one formal channel where we get educated by our teachers, but we are always in communication with our peers, our friends, or our seniors who will. From whom we learn various aspects, or we keep discussing even known things. We just keep on sharing those ideas again and again, so that it becomes cemented in our mind. It becomes concrete in our mind, like that. So but when it comes to spiritual life, we rarely discuss among each other, and we always look out for some formal channel, like this session or that session, or some YouTube video or something like that to hear. But rarely when devotees come together, they discuss philosophy, they discuss the perspectives, or they discuss how difficult is living in material world. So these things are not discussed, and that is the reason why our progress is somewhat very feeble. Like so many years also, that's like it's not very concentrated. I would say it's more dilute approach. It's not very intense.
Yes.
What is the thing this is pointing out? And because of lack of intensity, so after many years we find that what is happening. Whereas you rightly pointed out that during the times of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and even during the times of Srila Prabhupada, it was things were very intense. People were deeply situated, nicely situated actually.
Yes. So we have to see if we are sick and we are taking some medication, we also have to practice some prohibitions. If somebody is suffering from mucus and respiratory problems, then he should not eat starchy food or rich fatty carbohydrate rich food. He should take lean food. He should take warm and lean food, not fatty rich food. So if prohibitions are not followed, the medicine will may work very slowly or may not work at all. So spiritual principles will not work if we are hanging on to material life. Pravriti and nivritti both have to be practiced. Right?
Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, just one little comment also wanted to make, because when you were mentioning that uh, we, uh, we get our knowledge from Srila Prabhupada, from reading his books, that should be on top of our focus. But in addition to this, I would actually recommend also that devotees would study also the letters of Srila Prabhupada to his disciples during that period of time, 60s and 70s. Those letters also uncover different side of Prabhupada, like relationships in terms of day-to-day business, also, running a ISKCON, like also some solving some problems, solving some questions. Also, it's interesting when, for example, he can reject some images for pictures, like some illustrations, and explain why, and also uh, talking about raising children, gurukulas, everything like that. So we get also a sort of insight in the philosophy, and we can almost feel that energy and sense of humor also that he has. Sometimes it's like dark humor, but still it's you read it and the context can be not very nice, because there is some problems that are discussed, but still you can see even that Prabhupada had humor even in such situations. So yeah, this, and also of course his conversations and books. So all of that is a treasure that we have, and it should be studied very thoroughly, and understand. We should understand it very well, and that can somehow help us in our spiritual progress.
Yes. Yes. So we should research Srila Prabhupada's life and teachings. See, it's a matter of life and death for us. Srila Prabhupada is a liberated soul, nothing matters to him. He's beyond this body, but we are not. It is up to us to understand. So each subject matter, analyze Srila Prabhupada's writings, his room conversations, his morning walks, his lectures, his essays, his writings in his articles in Back to Godhead magazine. So there are many media where Srila Prabhupada has communicated. So I would recommend that if you are on Facebook, if any one of you is on Facebook, you can see there's this mm, personality called Gargamuni Das or Gregory Schaff. Both he goes by both the names. You can like his page and follow that page, and every day he posts around 5 to 6 times Srila Prabhupada's teachings on various topics. So if you are interested, you can do that. So it's up to you, really. The matter of spiritual progress depends really on how much interested we are. Okay. So yes. So thank you very much, everybody.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Just one last
Yes,
question.
Prabhu.
Like because the
Yeah.
conversation has shaped into that direction, so we find that
Hmm.
yes, Prabhupada's books are there, which in itself is a vast resource. Other than that, we have Prabhupada giving his live lectures, which have been gracefully recorded by his disciples, for and it is also great benefit. So there are Hindi lectures also, there are English lectures also. At the same time, as you said, there are letters. Then in letters also there are two classifications: letters to general people and letters to devotees. Then there are room conversations. In room conversations also with devotees, and room conversations with general mass of the people, like the scholars and the scientists. And then there are morning walks, and as you said, some articles from Back to Godhead. So is there a order in which we can go about, or like what is more important for us, or what do you suggest, Prabhu, for in this, like that's like a immense ocean of what Prabhupada has left us for us.
Okay. So first priority is books. Second priority is then this conversations, letters. They all come as second priority because conversations, letters. These are specific. They are based on certain circumstance, and there may be contradictions. For instance, Srila Prabhupada and all the acharyas, not just us from Madhva Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, everyone maintains that there is no question of divorce. There is no divorce in Vedic culture. And Srila Prabhupada also says that there is no divorce. But under one particular circumstance, Prabhupada allowed one devotee to divorce. He said, "Yeah, okay, you can divorce." Now, one may read that letter and think that this is a general rule, but it is not. Because in that case, that devotee was anyway going to take divorce. He was completely like, he was ready on a horse, he was going to take divorce. And Srila Prabhupada had to say yes to him. Otherwise, as Prabhupada says, that taking divorce is sinful. And he's already doing something sinful. If I would have said no, he would have still gone ahead and taken a divorce. Then he would be not only sinful, but also a guru apradhi, an offender to the spiritual master. So therefore, Prabhupada allowed him to take a divorce, but that's not very nice because you are forcing your spiritual master to give you an instruction which he doesn't want to. So that's not good. So one should be very respectful, one should be very humble in front of the spiritual master. So letters may be a bit risky, but first one should read books. And if there's ever any contradiction, then one should understand the book takes priority because books are written principles. Letters are circumstantial. Letters and conversations, they're all circumstantial, but books are the primary principles. Usually, there would be no contradiction, but if there is, then book takes priority.
What about Srila Prabhupada's lectures on the same shlokas?
Perfect. Lectures are also perfect because in lectures, he's usually illustrating some point.
So the books
But
and the
books will
lectures,
be primary, then everything else.
books and lectures not on the same level because it's same author, everything context is same.
Yeah, but lectures are also circumstantial because Srila Prabhupada is illustrating some point in the lecture, but usually books are deeper. Like you would find maybe one verse where Prabhupada has given several lectures, and each lecture would be illustrating a different point. But if you read the purport will have a general understanding of the whole subject matter. As such, you will never find contradictions, but if at all you do think there is a contradiction.
And I never felt contradiction. I felt more elaboration when I
Yeah,
like
usually,
there's
but like
like
this divorce case, like I was saying, only this was like an apparent contradiction, but even though it was not,
it
but
was a very
still,
case to
like you can
case,
say, because
like more like a exception case study we can say. But
yes, because Prabhupada said books take priority because books are like concrete principles.
So most of the time when it comes to some topic like divorce affairs, if at all he has
Hmm.
to speak, then whether it in the books or whether in the lectures, Prabhupada was bold enough to tell the same thing.
Yes. Right.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you all the devotees. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.